It's Thursday, everyone. You're watching Puck Time with the Prez. I'm Lawrence Presman, co-founder of Wager Talk Media, owner of WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and the iconic Gold Sheet. A bunch of NHL games on today. We got an 8-pack. We're going to look at 4 in depth and then take apart 4 real quick in the last minute of play. Vivian's back with her parlays. She had a good night last night. Hope you caught it on Twitter. And today's guests, Dave Koken and Carmine Bianco. And let's start with you, Dave. How are you, my friend? What's going on in Vegas?
Well, you know, it's kind of busy because we got the Democratic primary in town, and now Trump's in town as well. So the politicians have taken over the city.
I watched the Dem debate last night from my couch. I thought it was really entertaining, to say the least. Did you watch it, Dave?
No.
Carm, what's up with you, brother? How are you?
Not much. Everything is good. Big day of soccer for me. I know it doesn't really interest you. I've got a 5% play that goes at 3:00 today. So. And a ton of other work to do. Big schedule of NHL plays tonight. Everything's good, man.
Guys, let's get into the show. Before we start, I want to give out a promotion. We've got 2 today. Dave Koken's baseball season. Dave's literally one of the best baseball handicappers on the planet. You'll hear him every day, Monday to Friday, with me on First Pitch, starting in about a month from now. His regular season package is $1,095. I took $400 off of that package. It's only available for the next 2 days. You can get his baseball season for $695. Use the promo code DAVE695, and I'm telling you guys, I mean, literally, if you're betting $50 a game, this package will do you proud. Dave is going to have an outstanding year in baseball.
Should mention that I do play some exhibition baseball. You're able to get lineups now, at least projected lineups for like the first 5 innings and stuff like that, once they get into it. And there are some edges to be had in preseason baseball. We did well each of the last 2 years with the exhibition games, and we'll have some again this year.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. Take advantage of that offer. It's around only for 2 days. The promo code over at wagertalk.com is Dave695. Boys, let's get to the first game right off the bat. Rapid revenge for the Leafs. I don't know if that even matters at this point. Minus 115 for Toronto, and over and under of 6.5. And I mean, this Toronto team, and Dave, I'll go to you first. They're just in a total free fall. They've lost their last 2 games, and on and on and on. They've won 1 game in regulation in their last 10. They just can't seem to get it going. They can't seem to get out of their own way. The turnovers in their end are utterly ridiculous. And they're playing a Pittsburgh team that is playing as good a hockey as, well, almost any team in the league, minus maybe Boston and Tampa Bay. And Pittsburgh is right behind Washington with all the momentum in the world to take them down in their division. I look at this line and look, everything says to me the Leafs are playing for their season right now. If they don't give the best effort that they've given all year, this season is going to get away from them, and yet I still can't bet them here. I don't know how you can take a team who has won 1 game in regulation in their last 10. I don't know how you can take them laying money, even if it's only 15 cents. I do like the over slightly, but I'm going to have to pass on this game. It's just one of those scenarios where Toronto has to win this game, and I can't lay that type of money. Dave Koken, fill me in.
Well, you pretty much said it all. What else am I supposed to say? I mean, the Leafs are the right side in terms of the scheduling and the importance of the game, but they're not winning any games. Their defense is just making horrible mistakes, and it's really tough to back them right now. But if I had to play this game, I think Toronto's the side I'd probably look at. because of the importance of the game. And you would think that the team's going to come up with a top effort tonight, and it is quick turnaround revenge off a game in which they didn't even compete. I mean, they're down 5-0 in that game, so the final score was kind of misleading. But it's really tough to have any confidence in the Maple Leafs right now. They're just not very good.
Yeah, and Carm, I mean, look, we know how you feel about the Maple Leafs, but you do live in Toronto, and you know, O-Dog on TSN, that's Jeff O'Neill for all of you guys who don't know, he was talking about the Leafs yesterday. And I think he made a really great point, and he said, you know, there are some players that are just winners, and there are some players with all the skill in the world that just aren't. You know, maybe Marner and Matthews aren't Taves and Kane. Maybe they just don't have that edge that requires them to play hard enough to win. You know, I'm watching these guys float.
They're not the problem. Those guys aren't the problem. Okay, I mean, their first two lines are really good. Okay, their back two lines aren't, and their defense stinks. I think anybody who's pinning the blame for this on their stars is out of their mind. Okay, Matthews is one of the best players in the league. Marner's really solid. There's a few other forwards. You look at the back. The back. Tyson Barrie's been absolutely awful this year, and they can't get anything out of their third and fourth lines. I think it's absurd to point the finger at the best players in their team. That's not the problem.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I was just talking about, you know, something that O-Dog said, and
well, then he's wrong.
Yeah, listen.
He's just wrong. That's just I'm sorry, but that's a stupid. I don't know how else to phrase it. That's a stupid take.
Okay.
That's like blaming Mike Trout for the Angels not making the playoffs. It's crazy.
Carm, would you like to add your thoughts here, brother?
Yeah, it's, you know, I've said it all year, and I'm not trying to be a downer on the Leafs like I typically am, but I still don't think this team, and maybe this is the simplistic approach to it, this team doesn't have an identity to me. They haven't all season. I've had this long discussion with friends who are diehard Leaf fans, and they keep asking me the same question: what's wrong with this team? And it's when you play a St. Louis, when you play a Tampa Bay, when you play a Washington, a Pittsburgh, you know what you're getting. When Toronto comes to town, or teams come to Toronto, you don't know what you're going to get from the Leafs on a night-to-night basis. I believe at the end of the day, and that's not the end of the day, we're talking end of the season, there is something wrong with this team that we don't know about. There's something wrong in that dressing room that we don't know about. This thing doesn't come out until the end of the year. It never does. It's just like an injured player who plays through an injury. You never know until the end of the season. There's something wrong with this team. They painted themselves into a corner by offering up the contracts that they did to Marner, to Nylander, to Matthews. And yeah, you have to pay these guys, but they left themselves with absolutely no cap space to make any deals. And like Dave said, Barry's having a horrible season. They brought him in to be an offensive defenseman. And maybe he's in his contract year and is having a bad year. Maybe they need to move him at the deadline and pick up a defensive defenseman who they're going to need in the playoffs, because if they make the playoffs, they're not going to win with the current team that they have, because you're not just going to be able to switch it on in the playoffs and play a style that they haven't played all season. As far as that last game, 5-2, as Dave said, the final score was flattering. Tonight, their backs are to the wall. They probably have to, if they stay out of the box, because you can't give the Penguins a power play. They have absolutely annihilated the Leafs on the power play, and did so quickly. And they literally ripped their hearts out in that game with those power play goals. Once they fell behind, that was done. I was actually surprised that Freddie stayed in and they didn't pull him. I think, and I hate to say it, they have to play their best game tonight. If they don't, they've got Carolina up next, and then Florida. We could see the Leafs dropping 5 quickly, and Florida continues to win. This could spell doom for the Leafs. If anything, I hate to say it, but minus 115 on the Leafs at home in a situation like it is tonight is probably the only play I would take. No lean on the total either way.
He's Carmine Bianco. You can find him at wagertalk.com. He leans on the Leafs. Dave Koken from wagertalk.com agrees. I lean on the Leafs. And look, I lean on the Leafs. I just can't do it. But I do like over the total in this game. A quick reminder to everybody. Dave Koken's baseball season, $695. That's $400 off the regular price. That offer is available for the next 2 days. You can get it at wagertalk.com if you use the promo code DAVE695. Carm, I'll go to you first on this game. Philadelphia, Columbus, and we spoke about this yesterday. All these teams sort of in must-win modes as the season starts to wind down, and these two are a perfect example. Columbus, they find themselves out of the playoffs for the first time in a while. They are tied with Carolina and the New York Islanders, but they have 2 games extra played already on both those teams. Philadelphia, another team they're playing against, only 1 point behind Philadelphia. Columbus is at home tonight. They really have to win this hockey game. I don't know if they can. I think Philadelphia is a better team than Columbus. I lean on Philadelphia here, and I also think this is going to be a very low-scoring game. Under 5.5 for me. Carm?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. This is obviously a true 4-pointer between Philly and Columbus. It's hard to believe that one of the teams from the Metro that are playing so well is going to miss the playoffs this year, and that's likely what's going to happen. But, Columbus, 6 straight losses. Tort's done a great, he's done a great job with this team all year, competing with them, especially after last season where they went all in, and lost obviously guys like Bobrovsky, Panarin, whoever it was, the goalies that they lost, the players that they lost. But 6 straight losses. The troubling ones are to the Sabres and New Jersey. They're teams they shouldn't be losing to. But they return home, 6 straight wins at home prior to the losses to Colorado, Tampa Bay, and the Rangers. And those are all respectable teams they lost to. The Rangers are surging right now, so you have to give them credit in that game too, with that goalie that they have right now. I'm leaning on Columbus here. I got to believe, much like the Leaf one, and it's sometimes with these back-to-back games between teams, we end up seeing a split where you sort of lose on the road, you come home and you win at home. And this is much like that aforementioned Leafs-Pittsburgh game, similar one here with Columbus and Philly having played just a couple days ago in Philadelphia. For me, it's Columbus. It's a short price, Columbus at home. I know it's tough to say with a team that's lost 6 in a row, but play well at home. And if they're gonna right the ship, it's gonna start tonight.
Dave, I lean on Philly. Carm leans on Columbus. My play in this game, and I will be betting it, is under the total. What are you doing in this one?
Well, look, there's no denying the Blue Jackets, and I said this when it happened. I said the one guy they couldn't afford to lose was Seth Jones. He is the most important guy on that team, and it might not even be close. And they have struggled without Seth Jones, no question about that. But you can look at this, and I know the Blue Jackets aren't a go-with team right now, and I don't think they're going to be a go-with team. I think they're probably going to struggle down the stretch and not make the playoffs. There's just not a lot of offense there, and again, the blue line isn't nearly as good without Jones. But this is the game for Columbus. I mean, if they're going to stay in the race, they almost have to win this particular game tonight. You got the quick turnaround. The market's not high on the Blue Jackets right now because they're in bad form, and Philadelphia's played better lately. To me, the value is with Columbus tonight. Whether they can live up and deliver, we'll have to wait and see. But that would be the side I would be considering.
He's Dave Koken, legend, wearing his gray shirt and what is that, a pink hat? It looks kind of pinky.
It's gray.
But I like how you've matched
gray.
your eye patch to your hat, to your shirt, to your beard.
Yeah, that's just accidental on the eye patch. I just grabbed
Fair
one.
enough. Guys, quick update. I lost my hockey game last night to take my run to 20-9. Oh, it was
I
It
lost
was
the same game.
A heartbreaking loss, Dave. I was on the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, yeah, me too. Look at they had the lead twice in the shootout, and I will blame the coach a bit. I know Toffoli's the new guy.
12.
He's not. He should be one of the last guys you use in a shootout, and they've got a chance to wrap up the shootout because they'd scored in the first two opportunities. And it's Toffoli. It's like, I'm sorry, but that's just because he's the new guy on the team doesn't mean that you put him out there in the shootout.
He's now
anyway.
1 for 13 lifetime.
Yeah, that's not his game.
And Markstrom Markstrom looked lost in the shootout. I'm not sure what was going on there. I didn't even have any skin in the game, but I knew the Prez had a play on it, so I'm like, let me watch this before I go to sleep. And I'm just like, he just looked lost. I just thought to myself, and it's like you said, Dave, they had the lead twice in the shootout. I'm like, all right, stop this guy, and then and it's done. He just couldn't do it.
You almost never lose a shootout when your team scores on the first two shots.
Yep.
But it's not never. It's
it
never.
wasn't meant to be. And I mean, look, Minnesota scored a tying goal with a deflection off the face of a defenseman.
Yeah.
And the refs weren't kind to Vancouver either. There should have been a major, not a minor, a major on the collision in the middle of the ice in the third period, putting Vancouver on a power play. That didn't happen. And then again, running the goalie with a minute to go in overtime. They missed that. But it happens. You're going to win some of those and you're going to lose some of those. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that bet the Wild last night, and they were the recipients of winning some of those. I also lost my college basketball play last night on Rutgers. I'm on a 12-2 college basketball run, everybody. I'm giving you out the same promo I gave out yesterday because it goes away tonight at midnight. Get the rest of my college basketball season and madness for $199. Use the promo code CBB199. That's CBB199 over at wagertalk.com. Dave, Arizona against St. Louis tonight. And St. Louis is minus 175. The over and under in this game is 5.5. And I'll make this easy. Feels hard to bet St. Louis at minus 175 when they have lost 5 of their last 6 games. Arizona did lose to Dallas 3-2, but they actually played a really good game. I look at this game and I think to myself, I can't touch the side here. I cannot take St. Louis laying that type of number. The total is 5.5. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. 3-1 would not surprise me at all. I like under the total here. What do you like, Dave?
The Coyotes are 2-9 playing without rest. So they have not done well in the second of back-to-backs. 4 of those were 2-5 in regulation. And then 4 losses in past regulation. But so in St. Louis, while they have not played well lately, they've won 1 of their last 1. So the slump might be over for St. Louis, and they might be time to start looking at playing on the Blues. I would look at St. Louis here. I think they're the right side of the game.
Mr. Bianco, sir, where are you at in this one?
Yeah, Dave echoed my thoughts. I was going to talk about the Coyotes being absolutely horrible on back-to-backs. I actually had them, and maybe Dave's are more accurate than mine. I had them at like 1-9 back-to-back, so I may have missed one somewhere in there. But they played last night, where this was their 6th straight under for Arizona, 8-1-1 to the under in their last 10. 5.5 goals with these two, and Arizona on the tail end of a back-to-back. I'm gonna lean the under here. I want to make one quick mention though. We have 47,000 plus subscribers to our Wager Talk YouTube channel. Absolutely amazing. I think we tweeted out about it this morning. We're going to hit 50 soon. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We actually had someone, Lawrence, tweet out to me, you, and Andrew this morning that we're like the Bruins top line. Andrew is Pasternak, I'm Bergeron, and you're Marchand. So
Well,
we have to mention Dave in here somewhere. So I have to mention
Dave's Ray Bork.
Dave. And this isn't an age thing, but it's ironic today that it's Phil Esposito's 78th birthday. You're like the Phil Esposito of Wager Talk. You are a man who's been around for the longest time, and everyone just loves Phil Esposito.
I'd rather have been Bobby Orr.
Okay, Bobby Orr. Well, I got to tell you, I'm honored to be Marchand. He's my favorite player in the NHL. He is exactly the type of player that I would be in the NHL. I would annoy the crap out of everybody, and I would do it with an incredible amount of skill.
You do.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, let's get to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Here we go.
This should be a doozy. This team has won 11 in a row. They're minus 120 on the road against the Vegas Golden Knights. The total in this game is 6, but it is moving. There are mostly 6.5s out there now. Vegas is playing good hockey. That is for sure. They've won their last 3 games, and they're also keeping teams down goal-wise. With that said, I really like the over tonight. I have an NHL play up at wagertalk.com for all of you guys. This over in the Tampa Bay game was the play I left out. It was my second favorite play on the card, so I am going to be betting it. Carm, I'll go to you first. What do you like in this Tampa Bay game?
I think I have to lean Tampa here. They're just playing absolutely out of their skin. 22 of their last 25 wins are like 22-3. I said it. They were off to a slow start at the beginning of the year, and playing this type of hockey now, if they can sustain it well into the playoffs, they'll get past the first round of the playoffs. I knew it was only a matter of time, and I said if you're going to play futures, play a future on Tampa Bay before they started this streak, because you could get them at 10-1. You can't get them at 10-1 anymore. I think. If they got on a run, they would win. They would win the East, and they're there right now. They're a point behind the Bruins.
Yep.
And I can't see them slowing down. Listen, Vegas has won 3 in a row. They're playing well at home, but they're playing a different team tonight. Those wins were over the Blues, the Islanders, and the Caps. And
3 good teams, Carm.
Yeah, no, 3 good teams, but 3 teams who are struggling right now. The Blues were struggling going into that game. The Islanders just can't seem to score. They can't seem to score against anyone. And the Capitals, and we talked about the Capitals, much like you, Lawrence, you said about the Blues. Fade the Blues in February, and that's been a profitable thing to do. I talked last week about the Caps and how they're a type of team that you shouldn't get worried about them if they lose 3 or 4 in a row. But they just seem to be coasting along right now, and then they can just pick it up again. And they've lost 4 of the last 5 on this road trip. They haven't looked good at all. So I don't want to make excuses for Vegas getting the 3 wins, because they're playing much better as a team since the start of February, and even in the middle of January, let's say. But they're playing against a different team tonight in Tampa. It'll be a true test for them. And if I can get a short price on Tampa, I'm going to take them.
Dave Koken, where are you at in this one?
Well, I'm not going against Vasilevsky. Guy's got these 20 straight games without a regulation loss. I mean, you just don't want to go against a streak like that. I don't want to go into a streak like the Lightning are on right now. And the Golden Knights, when they've had 2 or more days rest, they seem to come out flat. They're 6-12 in the season when playing with 2 or more days rest. So they get out of their rhythm when they get fresh, if you will. I can't go against Tampa. I would say this, though. The Golden Knights lost the meeting at Tampa, which wasn't that long ago. And they outplayed the Lightning in that game. They probably should have won that game. Fleury looks like he's getting into more Fleury form. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. I know I'm not going to go against the Lightning, but I'm not sure I can actually be on the Lightning either. I think this might be a game to just watch. I'm not crazy about your over, and again, I'm not a totals guy, but who's going to get the goals? Vasilevsky is just not giving up anything right now, and so you're going to have a good offensive night out of Tampa Bay to get this total over, because I can't see the Golden Knights getting more than 2 or 3 by themselves. So, I'm not saying take the under, but when you've got a goalie as hot as Vasilevsky, overs are not something I'm ready to look at.
Dave Koken, get his baseball season for $400 off. Use the promo code DAVE695 over at wagertalk.com. Guys, it's the last minute of play and Vivian's parlays. I'm going to do Vivian's parlays first. I haven't even seen it. There it is. She won one of hers last night. I hope you guys follow her on Twitter at VPresman. Tonight, she's got a $10 parlay that pays 54 on the Winnipeg Jets plus 100, St. Louis Blues minus 175, and a play that Carmine Bianco likes, the Florida Panthers at minus 140. Let's get to the last minute of play. Real quick, New Jersey minus 125, give or take, against San Jose, a total of 6. I like the over. Dave Koken.
Blackwood's been really hot for the Devils. The Sharks, I don't know, they could be mail-it-in mode at this point with the injuries and the fact they're not going to make the playoffs. I'd lean New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm leaning over here. Devils have won, 4 of the last 7, 3 of the last 4 at home, but they've lost 6 of the last 7 to the Sharks. This is one of those games where it just looks like a couple teams who aren't going to make the playoffs, who don't really care about playing super tight defense, and we could see some goals. This could be one of those 5-4 games. So over for me.
Washington minus 190 against Montreal. I'm all over Washington here. I talk about mailing it in. Montreal is just on a disaster free fall. They are done. Washington really needs a big game to start getting their mojo back. I like Washington regulation. I like Washington minus 1.5. Carmine.
Surprising that Montreal's only 8 points back of a playoff spot. They look like a team that's quit. They won't do it, but they should probably do something really quick and pick up Gerard Gallant before he goes somewhere else.
Great
as
call.
A coach. They're horrible throughout. Washington coming home and in need of a win. They're probably a good spot for them to win. It's Washington or nothing regulation time, and if this was a 6, it's 6.5. I still think it's going to go over. I think it's one of those games where it's like a 5-2, 6-2 type of win for the
Dave
Caps.
Koken.
Well, almost never play teams after they play in Las Vegas. It's one of the best go against angles there's been since the Golden Knights came into the league. You bet against whoever played in Las Vegas in their next game. So that takes the Capitals out of consideration. And look, the Canadiens are not good, but they just got beat again by Detroit. It's humiliating. They got swept by the Red Wings. They lost all 4 games to them. Maybe a little professional pride here. I think if you're looking for a long shot tonight, I'm not predicting you're going to win the game because it's tough to do that. There's a $192 favorite involved. But I think if you want to take a shot for a big price tonight, you go with the Canadiens.
Ottawa against Winnipeg. Winnipeg minus 125. They are in dire need of a run. They are out of the playoffs, looking up, but really close. Ottawa, we talk about, Montreal mailing it in, San Jose mailing it in. Not this Ottawa team.
Not this team.
They are playing their butts off. With that said, I still like Winnipeg here, and I do like over the total of 6.5. Dave?
I'd lean Ottawa. They're playing real hard, and they finally broke through and won 2 in a row. First time they've done that since November. They were 0-8 off a win prior to that. And now they've won 2 in a row, so they got a little positive momentum. I would not be laying a price into the Senators here. I'm not betting on Ottawa, but if I had to bet the game, I'd take the Senators.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that in the parity that is the Western Conference, that a team like Winnipeg, who's struggled defensively for the most part of the year, actually has a shot to make the playoffs. This is a 4-game road trip for them. Ottawa, Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Washington. They've got to win 2 of those 4 games at the very least before they head home. You can't drop 3 of the 4. But this Ottawa team is doing the exact same thing they did last year, out of the playoffs, and they're playing spoilers. They're beating teams that come to Ottawa. When you expect them to roll over, they don't. So for me, because of that, it's Ottawa. And you're getting like plus 105 right now with the Sens.
Last game, boys, the Kings versus Florida. Florida on a back-to-back, but they've been outstanding in this spot. They're minus 130. The over and under is 6. It was 6.5. You don't want to take unders with Florida, but lately they've been hitting, and they did again last night against Anaheim. I think the under is in play here, Dave.
Yeah, the Panthers haven't been bothered at all by playing the second of back-to-backs. 8-2-1-1 on the season. So 8-4 if you count the overtimes. That's really good. And they've been a very streaky team. And after a bad run, it looks like they're getting warm again. Now, granted, beating Anaheim, especially after Cam Fowler got hurt last night, that was the end of that. That's no big deal. But they also weren't really tested in the game. It was a pretty easy win for them. They should be able to handle the Kings tonight.
He's Dave Koken with us every Thursday on Puck Time. Carmine Bianco with us randomly throughout the week, always. Tomorrow's show, A Squared, Andrew and Alex. Looking forward to that. Make sure to check it out. And also make sure to head over to Wager Talk and get that promotion for Dave's baseball season. $400 off the regular price. Use the promo code DAVE695. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute... Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. What are you ignoring Com's analysis on the last game here?
Yeah.
He wasn't intentionally, but I think he thought because he mentioned in Viv's parlay
what happened,
Florida, and I did.
Guys, what happened was, Dave, before the show, I called Carm. I'm like, "What do you like tonight?" Carm and I went through the card. We talked, and it's like I have in my head Carm discussing the Florida game specifically. So my bad, because I actually thought he mentioned something because I have it chirping in my head. So, Carm, tell us why you like Florida.
They're good in back-to-backs. Like Dave said, I think it was a pretty easy win for them. It's likely Montembeault and net for tonight. I wish they would stick with their starter against Quick. Quick's been horrible of late. And it's one of those things where I talked the other day about Florida stringing some wins together, and they've got to go to Vegas next, I believe, and then against Arizona. But this could be 3 straight to start this road trip, and they're fighting the Leafs for that 3rd spot in the Atlantic. And let me make it clear: I firmly believe that the team that doesn't finish 3rd in the Atlantic behind Boston and Tampa Bay is likely to miss the playoffs. Those are my thoughts. So they need to string these wins together because at some point you have to figure the Leafs might right the ship. And obviously a win tonight by the Florida holds that 3rd right now, that 3rd spot, although they're tied with the Leafs. But they've got to win. They've got to win tonight, and you're laying a small price with them. And Montembeault hasn't been bad. He's actually looked pretty good over his last 3 or 4 starts. So it's the Panthers for me tonight at a short
That's
price.
The show, guys. Dave, Carmine, thanks for joining us. Make sure to check us out tomorrow, Alex and Andrew. And also, guys, mark in your calendar. First pitch starts in a month. Dave Koken and myself every day talking baseball. I'm the Prez, and I am out.